Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Simple Seafood, hosted by myself, John Wandrus, founder of Alaskan Seafood Guys. All right, so today we're going to talk all about black cod and what is going on with sable fish, black cod. Why is it all of a sudden becoming a popular fish? Why are people starting to know about it? For a lot of people, it's kind of coming out of nowhere, and we're just going to dive into it really quick. So, black cod, what I know as black cod is also known as sable fish or butterfish. So a lot of you guys may have never heard of this fish. Some of you guys may have heard of it, but the reason I'm even talking about it is because number one, it's an incredible fish. It's very authentic. It's very different, and it's becoming popular finally, all of a sudden. And so, okay, let's dive into black cod. So black cod is a whitefish. The crazy thing about this fish is that it's caught at super deep depths up in Alaska. And don't get me wrong, there's still black cod fisheries off the coast of Washington, California. As you guys know, my focus is in Alaska, and that's kind of what we're going to be really talking about more. But anyway, so it's caught in super deep depths. It's not a fish that, I guess for sport fishing, it's never really been a fish that's been targeted, by charter boats or guys who, come up Alaska to go out fishing. That's going to be more like a halibut, a salmon. That's where you're going to get your rockfish every once in a while, your cod. So I think that, has definitely been something to do with it where it hasn't been able to be as mainstream because number one, not, like sport fishermen aren't just going out and just targeting this stuff and catching it. Some people are, and you definitely can be, but it's very deep depths up in Alaska. So what makes this fish so crazy is that, for a whitefish, it's so different because it's a much fattier fish. So, when you think of whitefish, you think of your typical, cod, we do rockfish or even halibut. Those fish are very mild. And the main reason is they're not a very fatty fish. So when you look at, the nutritional values of that fish, you see something that's just super high in protein, very low in fat, pretty low in carbs. When you look at salmon, you got something that's a little bit different. You got something that's very high in protein, very high in fat, and low in carbs. With salmon, you're always hearing about, the omega-3s, that type of fat, your healthy fats. So that's what sablefish or black cod has. And it's crazy because it rivals salmon in levels of omega-3s and fat content. And if I remember right, it's, some species of salmon, it doesn't, I don't think it's as much as like king salmon, but I think it's right there when it comes to like coho and sockeye, just for the levels of omega-3 fat content in that fish. So what that does when it's a fatty fish, you're going to get a lot more flavor. And all of a sudden, that opens up a whole different realm of things you can do with that fish. And again, taste and flavor, and people who want to eat that stuff. So, you hear people smoking salmon, smoke king salmon, smoke sockeye. So, a fatty fish is a fish that you typically want to smoke because it's very good, lots of flavor. It does good smoking. So black cod is another one that is absolutely amazing for smoking. If you guys ever get a chance to have smoked black cod, or cold smoked black cod, you're gonna lose your mind. So kind of back to black cod and diving into it a little bit here. So black cod, also known as sable fish or butterfish, a few different names depending on where you're coming from. But for years, this is a commercially harvested fish in the state of Alaska. It's for the longest time it's been harvested by the longline method. So the same way guys are catching halibut up there. And then just recently, it's going more towards a pot fishery. So that's been more of a recent change. But for the longest time, this is a fish that always went export. So this was a fish that was very heavy in the Asian markets. A lot of this stuff went over to Japan. It's a very sought after fish over there. And don't get me wrong, it still is. As of right now, my guess is the majority of the fish harvested, especially up in Alaska, is still going over there. But we're seeing things a lot more where this fish is coming into markets here domestically. and I think it's absolutely awesome. There's definitely been some things that have changed that. I know there were times where, you know, the Asian markets did kind of slow down, and so the price went very, very far down for that black cod. So all of a sudden, you know, it wasn't as profitable for the fishermen or the plants. And whenever something like that happens with any, you know, resource, you're going to start looking into other options. You know, okay, this has been working for so long, but now it's not working as good. So where are some other ways we can put this fish or push this fish into and get the value of that fish back up? So, you know, and I would say this has been a process that's been going on for quite a while, but I feel like we're seeing a much bigger push of black cod here within the United States. And, you know, what we've seen is, you know, the last 2 years we have been carrying black cod, and we've seen it as a fish that, you know, the few people that come in and we're like, whoa, you have black cod, they're on it. These are those few customers out there that have had this fish. This could be a thing to where, you know, these are people that have had it at high-end restaurants. You'll see it on menus every so often. You know, a lot of people of Asian descent obviously are very big in that type of fish. Even people from Hawaii, we've had a lot of people from Hawaii come in and talk about black cod or sable fish. And these are the type of people that call it butterfish. But anyways, and again, it has been within the U.S. for a while too, especially in like more like Asian markets, Asian stores and districts, you know, throughout the U.S. But yeah, I mean, we're seeing a very big push on it. People are starting to be introduced to it more. Not just us. There's a lot of other companies out there that are really starting to push it. You're seeing it more and more in markets, a lot more specialty markets or businesses, you know, like ours. You're still not seeing it as like a staple in a grocery store. And again, black cod is an authentic high-end fish. So this isn't a fish that you're going to go and get a fillet for, you know, a few dollars. This is stuff that's going to range anywhere from like 18 to like $25 a pound. And when you see this stuff online, it's going to be even more. So, you know, and another thing that I've seen is you've seen guys like Steve Varnella on Meat Eater, another guy who has a very big audience. And, you know, he did an episode where he was down on his property in Prince of Wales Island and his cabin down there. And they actually went out, they were doing fishing, they were catching rockfish, yellow eye, they were catching halibut. But as he talks about in that episode, they went out very deep and they were catching black cod. And they brought it back to the cabin and they cooked it. And one of his guests, I think it was the first time he had it, and Steve Varnella was really talking this fish up. And this guy had it and he was absolutely blown away. And believe it or not, we actually, after that aired, and this was months ago, we did see an uptick. You know, who knows? I mean, he does have a huge audience on Meat Eater, so maybe there was a little bit of relevancy there that tied into that. But, you know, you're seeing guys like that who are just getting that out there. So I think awareness is starting to come in, you know, many different avenues. And I think, you know, from like, you know, social media stuff and guys like, you know, Steve who are doing shows where they're up in Alaska and they're talking about this fish brings big awareness. And then you got a lot more of these online seafood businesses like ours to where, you know, now we're working direct with fishermen and our guys, yeah, they're catching halibut, they're catching rockfish, and they're also catching black cod. So black cod is a great one for us to work with our fishermen on and get that fish direct from them and be able to offer it. So it's something that just fits for us really good. You know, and it's not a fish right now that is pushing out like the volume like salmon, but again, it's getting more and more popular and you're starting to see it a lot more. So if you guys have not had black cod yet, I urge you to check it out. We have it on our online shop, AlaskanSeafoodGuys.com. You know, we ship nationwide. We deliver locally in you know, the states of Wyoming and Montana in certain towns. But definitely check it out. Scour our YouTube channel as well because we've got multiple recipes of black cod or for black cod. But again, check this out. You guys are going to start hearing more and more about this. I guarantee it. If you haven't jumped on the train already, at least give it a try. Remember, it's a very, very rich fish. So this isn't something like you can't just take down a whole fillet of this stuff. It's kind of like eating a bunch of king crab. You eat a pile of king crab, it's so good, it's so rich, but it definitely upsets the old tummy. So same deal with blackcod. And again, when I say it's such a rich fish, it's not like a fishy fish. It's, you know, rich like king crab. It's just, that's why people call it butterfish. It's very rich. It's absolutely incredible. I see a lot of recipes out there with, you know, miso blackcod. I like to do, honestly, I do a lot of just really basics with some salt and pepper. I might do a little bit of teriyaki on there, but it has crazy natural flavor. But again, sorry, got on a tangent. I'll wrap this up. Check out blackcod if you haven't already. Give it a shot. Thank you for watching another episode of Simple Seafood. Visit AlaskanSeafoodGuys.com for all your seafood needs, shipped nationwide. Make sure to subscribe. We got more videos coming your way. Thank you.